Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Tuesday, February the 12th. Today is National Plum Pudding Day. And that's all I have on my list, Plum Pudding Day.
Plum pudding.
Yeah, but it's also a special day because we're going to talk to your dad. We do this thing every Tuesday where we reach out to my father-in-law. It's a little thing we like to call Tuesdays with Charlie. And if you've not caught that in the past, I encourage you to do it today. I wonder, since it's Valentine's Day this Thursday, I wonder if he'll be doing anything special for that. Do you think?
I don't know.
We have a special Valentine's Day Dear John letter. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be talking to a person who's like an expert about love. So, yeah, if you've got any love questions, you can submit those this week. I'll be talking to her on Thursday. It's Dr. Ellen Kenner. That's on Thursday for Dear John Letters. We've never had a guest host with us for Dear John Letters ever. So,
we have not.
But after the comments Heidi made last week, I might do that every week.
Right, what did I say last week?
I'm just teasing.
I was going to say, I've been pretty good.
You always give pretty good advice. So I was just being silly. So we do have a guest host joining me for Dear John Letters later this week. Thank you so much for listening today on a Tuesday to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Time now for surveys and studies and such. A survey by the Vision Council found that 50% of Americans are workaholics. I know several of those.
Yeah, so do I. I'm looking at one.
Really? Who?
You.
I don't see any.
Yeah, that's
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's not that I'm a workaholic. I just love what I do.
You are a workaholic.
Okay, I'm a little bit of a workaholic, but I love what I do, and I can't imagine doing anything else. So, can you imagine me doing anything else? What else would I be?
I don't know.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. Can you imagine me as a teacher?
Yes, I could, actually. I think you'd be a very good teacher.
I think my patience would wear very, very thin, very, very quick, so I can't imagine that. So hats off to the teachers. I don't know. This is what I like to do. So half of America, according to the Vision Council, workaholics. Welcome to the club. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. And this is your brain on drugs. A driver in England swerved to avoid an octopus before crashing. Now he's been arrested on suspicion of drug driving. They found a vehicle upside down in a ditch. 49-year-old driver checked over by paramedics before being arrested. An officer tweeted about the incident and said, there was no evidence of an octopus anywhere in the road. And it's not unheard of for a sea creature in that area, to be in that area, but they don't typically go up on the road. It would have had to have crawled more than 5 kilometers over hills and fields to find itself a path to be in the way of this car. So, they're in the ocean, but that's 5 kilometers away. So, 5 miles away, or whatever that, I don't know how that translates. Spokesperson for the Devon and Cornwall police said, he did a bit of slow roll into a ditch. An ambulance went out, and the driver was checked over by paramedics, but they weren't injured enough to go to the hospital. And the good news is they were under the influence of drugs, so they gave him a ride for free to the jail instead.
That was nice.
I know. It's very nice of them. But that is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Jennifer Lawrence has gotten engaged to an art gallery owner, Cook Maroney. So I don't know who Cook Maroney is, but congratulations to the two of them. Bachelor Nation's Caitlin Bristow and fellow Bachelor alum Jason Tartick are officially a couple. At least they were last week when the story came out. Who knows? That stuff changes so fast.
So quick.
Bristow recently...
Not everyone can last 19 years like us.
We just celebrated 19 years yesterday. Bristow recently split from her fiance, Sean Booth, in November. And then one other, Real Housewife of New York, Ramon Singer, left a $1 tip on a $20 meal that she had on Monday of last week. What is that a story? How's that a story? What would that be? That's not a big enough percent.
Well, it's not even 10%.
So $1 tip.
That's
How is that? Can you imagine that if you did that you'd make national news? That would be
I don't
awful.
ever want to be that kind of famous.
No, me neither. Anonymity is just fine with me. Who are you? Are you somebody? I am nobody. You sure? I'm positive. All right. We've got your scoop of the day on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert. Hear awesome 80s music from Scandal, featuring Patti Smythe, A Flock of Seagulls, Richard Page of Mr. Mister, Tony Lewis from The Outfield, Pretty Poison, Thomas Dolby, and more. Also, meet people from your favorite 80s movies, like Robert Hayes from Airplane, E.G. Daily from Valley Girl, and more. May 3rd and May 4th. Get more info now at 80sinthedesert.rocks. Use promo code RADIO to save $25 per ticket.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. The city of San Jose, California, has opened the nation's first virtual reality movie theater. So you can go to this theater, and apparently it immerses you in the movie. That would be kind of interesting, but you'd want to go to the right movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you go to the wrong movie, things could get kind of bad, couldn't they?
Yes.
So I wonder how they choose which movies they're going to show. I've got a link to the story if you're really interested. Emily Ratajkowski has expanded her swimsuit line to include lingerie.
Well, isn't that nice?
I have no idea who that is.
I don't either.
I don't know what that is. That a big thing? Is that a big deal?
I have never heard of it. I don't know.
So apparently it's a big deal. It made the news, Heidi, so you know it's a big deal. Passengers' ears start bleeding on a Southwest flight from Connecticut to Florida. What? A passenger had their ears start bleeding? So is that
one passenger or all passengers?
A passenger's ears started bleeding on a Southwest flight from Connecticut to Florida. So I wonder if that was like an air pressure thing.
If they already had an eardrum that was ready to burst or something to begin with, and then when they went up, it caused a problem.
Yeah, that could be bad.
That's a little scary.
That's not a good feeling for me when I'm going up. I'm like, I need my ears to pop. Don't like that at all. A Russian court jailed a Jehovah's Witness for 6 years after the man was accused of practicing the banned religion in their country. So in Russia, it is illegal for Jehovah's Witness to practice, apparently. I didn't know that.
God bless America.
Yeah, holy cow, that is crazy. So being jailed for practicing your religion, that doesn't seem quite right. A United Kingdom minister, actually several of them, are holding secret talks of delaying the Brexit by an additional 8 weeks. So the UK ministers, I think that's what they call their Congress people. Is that what it is? Okay. They're holding secret talks to delay Brexit by an additional 8 weeks. I'm not exactly sure what is going on there. I haven't really followed that. I've got a friend that's very involved because he lived there and now lives here, and he's always tweeting and talking about it, and I'm like, I don't. We got enough of our own.
At the end of the day, it should always be up to the people, not a tiny group of people who think they know best. It should be up to the people of that. And the people of that country chose Brexit.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I've got to completely change the subject now because we need that. This Thursday, guys, listen, if you're in a relationship, pay attention. This Thursday is Valentine's Day. This is one that you want to make sure that you do something. Because if you don't, bad deal. Like, you might not be in a relationship after this Thursday. So I have for you 7 romantic rules that will keep your relationship passionate and fun. This is from The Complete Idiot Guide to Romance. I mean, so everybody should know this, right? So number 1, stop talking about romance and get to work. So they're saying, quit talking about it and go do something. Don't talk about, we should go on a date. We should do this. We should do that. Just go. Go do it. Yeah. Quit talking. Start doing. Number 2, don't expect your partner to make changes. If you want more romance in your relationship, you have to give it. So don't just sit around waiting for it. Yeah. Make the change. Number C.
Number C.
Was I doing numbers before? Number 3, make your partner a part of your life. Top priority is ideal. So make sure that they're involved. Heidi, do you feel like you're a part of my life? Maybe. We're together.
I don't think there's any part of your life I am not involved in.
We're together like 23 and a half hours a day. Number whatever the next one is 4, I think. Don't expect romance to just happen. You have to create it. The next one on the list, don't view romance as a chore. Instead, consider it a privilege. It's a blessing to have somebody in your life to be romantic with.
That's true. I like that.
I think this is 6. There's just little dots in front of them, so I don't know what number this is. A relationship requires daily attention to keep it alive. If you put in the minimum work, it will be reflected in the degree of happiness and satisfaction you feel in the relationship. And the final one, I think, number 7, because it was 7 things. Keeping the lines of communication open will help keep romance burning bright. So communicate.
Yeah.
Do you agree with all those?
I do.
There you go. I'm going to take a note and hopefully remember this stuff. I've got a link to these in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night? Afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights, and we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myirs.taxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myirs.taxrelief.com.
And it's time right now for my favorite program, something we do every Tuesday, just because we can. We pick up the phone and we call my father-in-law for a little thing we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
It's Tuesdays with Charlie on the John and Heidi Show.
How you doing, Charlie?
Hey, let's do it.
So we got some great stuff we're going to learn about today. It's Valentine's week. Is there any love in our lesson today?
Never thought about that. There is not.
We'll just say everything has to do with love. We'll see how we can connect it.
That'll be interesting. Way back when, in 1946, Canada sent 50 beavers to Argentina.
Really?
Beavers?
Beavers. Now, I don't know why they'd send 50 beavers to Argentina.
It's probably because they loved them.
But now, they number 100,000 and are destroying Argentina's forests.
Whoa!
Oh, no. They should have returned those original beavers.
Yeah, if they're not from Argentina, you probably shouldn't be sending stuff to there. Clearly, they weren't supposed to be there to begin with.
Hey, how would you like me to send you 50 beavers? Okay, send them over. That's what I need. Hey, then in Russia until 2011, anything containing less than 10% alcohol was considered to be a foodstuff and not alcoholic.
Really?
So I suppose little kids could be drinking beer, wine.
Yeah, their juice boxes are a little different in Russia than they are here.
You know what Netflix is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard of that before.
50% of Netflix users watch an entire season of a TV show in just 1 week.
Yeah.
I think that we would be some of those.
I think you could do it in 3 days.
If you put your mind to it, you can.
Yeah, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And don't shower.
Or get dressed, or leave the house.
Well, then you're kind of on a diet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of really, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing our, well, I wouldn't say we're doing our best, but we're trying.
No shoveling food in your mouth. I've seen you. A McDonald's Caesar salad has more calories, fat, and salt than a double Big Mac burger.
Really?
So if you're going to go there, you might as well get the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's
that
kinda
is
crazy.
insane.
Well, here's another one right up your alley then. In 2010, a Kansas University professor went on a Twinkie diet.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
Did it go well?
Well, he ate Twinkies, Oreos, and Doritos to prove that calorie counting is the important part of losing weight, not the nutritional value. He lost 27 pounds in 2 months.
Bet he was sick of those things by the time
I bet he
done.
was.
Well, I don't know, Twinkies. Yeah, you can't get sick of Twinkies.
Oh, I could get sick of them pretty darn quick.
Well, let's see. When are we going to Vegas? In May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be March, April. I'm going on the Twinkie diet. I'll lose 27 pounds, man.
You're going to look like an Adonis.
Who's the stud hanging out by the pool, eating Twinkies and Doritos?
What'd you call me?
You'd be a stud, wouldn't you?
No, that other word you said I was a what?
Heidi said
Adonis?
an Adonis.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what I am. One of them.
Yes, I'm one of those things. Well, you ready for a question from us?
I think I know the answer.
All right. You might actually know the answer. What the word Jeep, you know, the vehicle Jeep, do you know what Jeep stands for?
No, not a clue.
Well, it actually is a military term for a general purpose vehicle. So it's actually GP, but GP, instead of saying that, they would just call it a Jeep. And then they started spelling it Jeep. but it stood for General Purpose, GP.
Well, you can't be saying that. That ain't right.
Well, that's what, according to the internet, it's right.
Well, I don't know where you get your information, but it's wrong, dude.
Is that wrong?
We don't have a staff like you.
I don't have the crack staff you got. That's it, Heidi. You're fired.
You have to say that.
So you don't think that's right?
Why don't you think that's right?
Well, you say what does Jeep stand for? You got to go with JEEP.
They spell it that way now because that's how it sounded. GP. Bring your GP here. So instead of calling it a GP, they call it a Jeep.
I'm protesting.
And I think you have every right. Flag on the field. This question's out of here. We're not going to count this one against you, Charlie.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what that means exactly.
Taking it for the team.
Yes. Well, we'll talk to you next week, Charlie.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Fluff. Bye, John.
Bye-bye. My father-in-law right there. We talk to him every Tuesday just because we can. It's a little thing we like to call Tuesdays with Charlie. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Alaska is both the most western state and the most eastern state in the United States. How crazy is that?
Really?
Here's why. Alaska is the most western state because of the islands that stretch all the way out into the western hemisphere. But there's an island that goes past that line as well. So that way it's over kind of closer to Russia. And it's actually in a different hemisphere,
okay.
So it's the furthest east. So Russia is not Russia, what's that other one? Alaska is both the furthest east and the furthest west state.
Huh.
So now you know. That is definitely a fun fact on the John and Heidi Show.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the desert. Hear awesome 80s music from Scandal, featuring Patty Smythe, A Flock of Seagulls, Richard Page of Mr. Mister, Tony Lewis from the Outfield, Pretty Poison, Thomas Dolby, and more. Also, meet people from your favorite 80s movies, like Robert Hayes from Airplane, E.G. Daily from Valley Girl, and more. May 3rd and May 4th. Get more info now at 80sinthedesert.rocks. Use promo code RADIO to save $25 per ticket.
Now, fear this. It's fun with phobias. Today's phobia, plutophobia. Plutophobia. What a weird name for this one. What do you think plutophobia is?
Fear of space?
No, not that Pluto.
Okay. Fear of dogs?
No, not that Pluto. I don't know which Pluto they're talking about.
know.
Plutophobia, the fear of wealth. What?
What?
What is that? What the what?
Huh.
How's that a thing?
I don't know.
Fear of wealth is plutophobia? I think we're going to have to check with the judges on this one.
Yeah, I don't like that
right.
one. That doesn't seem...
Doesn't seem legit. But either way, we've got some weird news to get to. We'll do that from the weirdgiftoftheday.com in just a bit.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, some weird news brought to you by weirdgiftoftheday.com. A well-dressed man in a suit was caught on a restaurant surveillance camera wrapping a pricey steak in a cloth napkin and then smuggling out. Casually walked out, skipping out on the bill. In a twist on a typical dine and dash, this clean-cut crook is shown taking a bite or two.
Clean-cut crook.
Yeah. Taking a bite or two out of a steak, a juicy 20-ounce porterhouse with the sides and all the fixings, then looking around nervously. This was at the House of Beef in Oakdale. Then he grabbed a linen from the basket of rolls, wrapped up the steak, gets up and walks out the front door and leaves. One of the servers interviewed expressed her shock and dismay, even going so far as to call the thief a, quote, slime ball. Adding insult to injury, the man first chowed down on a lobster tail and drank a 20-ounce beer before skipping out on a $56 bill with the steak in hand, workers told the person doing the interview. Restaurant owner Steve Medlin urged viewers to catch the jerk responsible for this theft. There's image of him in the show notes if you want to see who it is. You probably, I don't know, maybe you'll recognize him, but I don't know who it is. but I'm not from there, so that's probably why. I've got a link in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. A man accused of breaking windshield wipers and windshields on several cars in Florida parking lot told deputies he did it because he was angry he couldn't remember where he parked his own car. I don't know if I buy that, though. Take a listen to the rest of this. 60-year-old Albert Megnath broke and bent and removed windshield wipers on several vehicles
Yikes.
at the North Point Village Shopping Center. Now, I'm going to pause for a second.
What's his
We had a
problem?
story about somebody else that did something like this, but I think it's two different stories.
Yeah.
Do you remember having, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we talked about a guy that broke a bunch of windshield wipers?
No, I don't remember.
I distinctly remember that. He removed the wipers and caused several windshields to crack on a total of 6 vehicles that had reported damage. Deputies say in addition to about 10 other vehicles in which the owners of those vehicles didn't want to be victims in this case, or like, I don't want to be involved. It's not that bad. Don't put me on the list. He was arrested. That's why I think it's a different one. And the cost of damage is about $1,000. The other one, the guy who got away, remember?
Okay.
His family came and picked him up, and there was alcohol in the parking lot.
I didn't remember the windshield wiper part. I knew that he was doing stuff.
This
in the parking
guy,
lot.
he was also warned in this same place. He was asked not to come back to the shopping center. He was given a trespass warning in September for vandalizing property. What is going on with this guy? He was taken in for trespassing and was detained. So I don't understand that. What in the world? It's definitely today's moment
He's
of duh.
clearly angry about something.
Something going on in that parking lot, I think. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. Now, these 3 things. Heidi, tell me what do these 3 things have in common?
All right.
A prison, a basketball team, and the Buckingham Palace.
Oh.
A prison, a basketball team, and the Buckingham Palace. What do you think? Think about who stands out in front of the Buckingham Palace.
Guards.
Yes, they all have guards. Good job, Heidi. I'm so proud of you.
I won't even say what I was going to suggest.
I don't even want to know. I just saw the smile on your face, and you'll have to tell me when we get done.
I will.
No,
I will.
I don't think I want to know. Thanks for listening to these 3 things on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Would you stop it?
I crack myself up.
Yeah, you're funny. She's so funny. She's hilarious. Should we talk about what you thought was so funny?
Probably.
Yeah, of course not. That's why I don't let you do this. I'm like, you just stay on that side of the counter. Here's a headline to change the subject. When an 87-year-old fell down in a winter storm, she came close to death. That doesn't sound like good news.
Oh.
But she was rescued by a dog. And now they're calling the dog Lassie.
Don't you just love dogs? Dogs are amazing.
Oh, not all dogs. Our dogs
they
are
do
not
this kind of stuff all the time.
I know. Our dogs are not that amazing.
Yeah, our dogs are pretty worthless.
I
but
couldn't
most
even-
dogs are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I couldn't even get our dogs to fetch me something the other day. I was like, hey, grab that. Bring it
No,
in.
you were pretending like you were hitting me the other day to see if Mandy would react, and all she did is just start crying and shaking. I'm like, come on, man.
I said, I wonder if she would protect you. I was like, here, let's pretend like I'm
She
attacking
was
you.
very upset, but she didn't do anything.
My dog thinks I'm nuts. Everybody listening probably does too now. This is the weird stuff we think of. I won't even go into other things we've done. It's just dumb. Okay, this is a black Labrador mix being hailed as a hero after she came to the rescue of an 87-year-old woman in distress earlier this week. Actually, I believe it was last week. That's when I got the story. Tim Kerfman. was taking out the garbage from his home in Minnesota during that record-breaking winter storm when his 4-year-old pup, Midnight, started acting kind of strange. She had her ears perked up and looked straight at him. She doesn't normally do that. Sometimes you get the feeling there's something up. Kerfman decided to follow Midnight out into the snow, and she immediately dashed over to the other side of their house, and there he found his elderly neighbor, Noreen, laying in the snow. She had fallen to the ground while trying to refill her bird feeder, and there was nothing to grab a hold of, so she couldn't get back up. She'd been in the snow for about a half hour when the dog and Kerfman found her. How crazy is that?
Wow.
He brought Noreen into his home so he and his wife could get this chilled senior to warm up and get her some dry clothing. She apparently had made a full recovery without sustaining any frostbite, and it's all thanks to Midnight, or now, as Midnight has been nicknamed, Lassie.
Aww.
And there's probably kids going, why in the world Lassie? There was a TV show back in the 60s.
Yeah, there was once a dog
named Lassie.
That was really smart.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing. I'm going to be visiting with Timmy from Lassie.
Really?
Yeah, I was just talking to a guy that knows him. He said, I'm going to line up an interview with you and Timmy. His name really isn't Timmy, but we're going to be visiting with the man who played Timmy. I think that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
It'll be a fun interview. But I've got a link to this story in the show notes. It's in the good news section if you click on the show notes button at johnandheidishow.com.
Did you watch Lassie?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun.
I saw some of the movies. I never watched the TV show, really.
I thought it was fun. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday.